Ryan is resigning from his position as the president of the University of Virginia. The sudden departure is linked to pressure from the Justice Department about UVA's diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and accusations that Ryan slow-played changes demanded by the Trump administration. Kate Nectarline joined us live on grounds with our top story at 5. Kate.
Aaron, we've just received a statement from Ryan confirming his resignation from the University of Virginia. He says he's inclined to fight for what he believes in, but believe that going up against the federal government unilaterally could put faculty at risk of losing their jobs and students at risk of losing their visas and financial aid. Now, what Ryan is calling an excruciatingly difficult decision has already drawn intense reactions from the community.
Having the feds come in and force out a leader is just unprecedented and truly outrageous.
Senator Tim Kaine is not happy about Jim Ryan leaving UVA.
But the notion of we're in midstream on an investigation and hey, we'll drop the whole thing if you resign. I mean, that is just, it's bullying.
And he's not alone. State Senator Cree Deeds, who represents Charlottesville, agrees.
I think it's a tragedy and it's Virginia's loss. There's no question about that.
The New York Times reports that the Justice Department privately demanded that Ryan resign as part of a deal that would include the federal government settling a civil rights investigation into DEI policies on grounds. John Reed is the Republican nominee for lieutenant governor.
I think it's past time for President Ryan to step down, and I hope that everybody who's associated with the University of Virginia will recognize that they need to recommit to solid management practices and stop pushing the DEI.
According to the Times, Ryan told the Board of Visitors that he planned to step down at the end of next academic year, but given the current circumstances, he decided to resign now.
It threatens the independence of the university. It casts a shadow on the integrity of the research and the teaching that we do at the university.
Eric Lindstrom is a history professor at UVA and one of 100 UVA faculty members who signed a letter condemning federal interference on grounds.
And it's just an outrageous violation of academic freedom.
Kaine is now warning universities across the state and the nation, saying if it could happen here, it could happen anywhere.
You have to be a president that, is loyal to the president of the United States, or your job's in danger.
Virginia today naming an interim president who will serve until a permanent replacement is found.
UVA's Board of Visitors selected Paul Mahoney, a law school dean, at a special meeting today. Kate Nectarline joins us live in the newsroom with our top story at 6.
The Board of Visitors met for about 3 hours this morning, with much of that time closed to the public. There are still some unknowns, but one big question has been answered.
I move the Board of Visitors elect Professor Paul G. Mahoney, interim president of the University of Virginia.
With that, Paul Mahoney, a UVA law professor and former law school dean, will be the next person to head the university. Mahoney has been with the law school for more than 30 years and will replace acting president J.J. Wagner Davis. Rachel Sheridan is board rector.
UVA has faced chapters of immense change before. It has always emerged stronger because good people have chosen to rise to the challenge with integrity, civility, and purpose. And that is what we are called to do now.
In a written statement, Mahoney thanked the board for their trust and for making a decision in a manner consistent with the university's core values of shared governance, academic freedom, and student self-governance. Clay Dickerson is UVA's student council president.
I'm happy with the timing. As far as Mahoney himself, it's okay. I mean, it's fine. I think that who he is matters less than what he does.
The decision comes after UVA hosted listening sessions with the community and published an online nomination form. At the meeting, UVA revealed that 5 people were nominated 30 or more times, but did not say who.
I'd like to see who those were and see where Mahoney ranked in the total nominations.
This is the first time the board has met since UVA's Faculty Senate gave them a vote of no confidence. Faculty Senate Chair Jerry Simon welcomed Mahoney, writing to 29 News that his years of service as Dean of UVA Law have demonstrated his capability and dedication to advancing the university's mission. Ian Mullins is a UVA professor and is with United Campus Workers of Virginia. He says his biggest problem with the interim announcement is a lack of information.
In general, faculty that I've spoken to are still upset about the process. They feel like there's a need for much greater transparency from the perspective of the board and how this decision was made.
Mahoney's term officially begins next Monday on August 11th. The board today stated that it will begin the search for a permanent president in late August or early September, and it will take about 4 to 6 months.
In our newscast tonight, Jim Ryan is speaking out about his resignation as president at the University of Virginia under pressure from the federal government. Today's account details his version of events. Kate Nectarline has been following the story closely and brings us the latest.
Stunned and angry is how UVA's former president felt about the way members of the Board of Visitors treated his battle against the federal government. In a 12-page letter to the UVA Faculty Senate, Jim Ryan is going public with the details of his resignation, from votes on DEI to confidential meetings with the Justice Department and the choice he would eventually make to leave his presidency at UVA. Calling the episode surreal and bewildering, one that felt like a, quote, hostage situation, Ryan says then board member and now rector Rachel Sheridan played a role in the pressure campaign. He says Sheridan was part of key negotiations with the Justice Department that led to what he calls his forced resignation, and says she hired a lawyer to persuade him to resign. But Sheridan's version of events is very different. In a letter to the Faculty Senate Thursday, Sheridan says she never negotiated with the DOJ, that she was not supportive of efforts to remove Ryan, and that pressure on him to resign was from the Trump administration alone. Sheridan's letter comes after months of faculty demanding answers.
I had essentially given up hope, so I was surprised. And then my next thought was, too little, too late.
Jerry Seidman is chair of UVA's Faculty Senate. Friday afternoon, the group voted to call for the rector and vice rector to resign immediately, citing a lack of transparency and accountability.
Even if everything that the rector said is exactly true, would I still think that she was behaving in a courageous way I would expect of board leadership? And the answer to that is no. The Faculty Senate doesn't see any path forward to rebuild trust.
Joel Gardner is president of the Jefferson Council.
There's a lot of speculation in Jim's letter.
Gardner says at the crux of the issue is simply Ryan's failure to dissolve DEI on grounds.
There is a massive amount of evidence that this was being slow-walked. It was, in essence, a charade.
Ryan ended his letter with several questions of his own in a strong statement condemning the Board of Visitors for not doing more to protect him, saying in his words, "I was accused more than once of being stubborn, but stubborn and principled often look the same, especially to those who are unprincipled."
UVA's new president won't have to move far into his new office. The Board of Visitors this afternoon introducing Darden Business School Dean Scott Beardsley as the university's 10th president. Avery Davis joining us live from outside Old Ivy Hall, where that announcement was made. Good evening, Avery.
Today ends the search that garnered the attention of elected officials from Charlottesville to Washington, sparked controversy, sparked criticism from Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger, and defense from Governor Glenn Youngkin. Through the controversy, Scott Beardsley says he's ready to lead and unite the university.
I want you to know that I stand before you because I love this university.
UVA's Board of Visitors unanimously voted on Friday afternoon to promote Scott Beardsley from Dean of the Darden School of Business to President of the university. Beardsley takes office January 1st and will serve 5.5 years. His selection follows a contentious semester-long search to replace his predecessor, Jim Ryan, who resigned in June.
And I want to just say that I believe the best way forward is together. This is a moment to move beyond division, to renew trust, and to focus on what unites us.
Rector Rachel Sheridan told the crowd that gathered at Old Ivy Hall for the announcement Beardsley was a top candidate from the beginning of the search.
I felt that the best thing to do was to serve the university I'm already working at for the last 11 years, to try and move forward. I felt that my skills matched what the university needs, and I look forward to serving to the best of my abilities all parts of UVA.
Beardsley was asked why he accepted the job amidst calls from some faculty and Democrats, including Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger, to stop the search in its entirety. The Board of Visitors, who has the final say, currently consists of Youngkin appointees.
Well, I didn't control that I was nominated or selected in the process.
Beardsley says he wants to take politics out of the position. Ahead of the announcement, Democrat delegate Katrina Carlson told 29 News the selection process was flawed to its core.
This doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to ignore what everyone is asking for and to soldier ahead when you know that all of it might be overturned in just a few weeks.
Lieutenant Governor-elect Ghazala Hashmi has already responded to the appointment, saying it should be paused until she and Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger take office in January. For now, live on grounds, Avery Davis, 29 News at 6.